Hi friends, welcome back. I chose a very protected paddle today because the weather conditions later today aren't great, and it's just a couple of days away from winter and it's really cold. So I'm just kind of making everything a little bit smaller for myself, a little bit more manageable, and a little bit more protected. I'm in Roque Bluffs. I'm going to do a paddle on Little Kennebec Bay, and I'm going to head deep into the bay to really the headwaters of the bay. It gets narrow. I've never done this paddle, so it's going to be a new thing for me, but it gets narrow back there, a little protected, in the trees a little bit more instead of being out towards the open ocean. We'll see if the weather holds. We'll see how cold I get. Regardless, I think we're going to have a beautiful paddle if we can get protected. Something else I do every year is just look back on what happened, look back at my goals. So I'm going to take some time today to process and talk about some of the things that I was working on last year and some of the things that I wanted to improve upon in my paddling and look ahead. Okay, time to get on the water. Everything feels a little bit tough today. Launch was muddier and siltier than I thought. It's pretty cold, so that mud was like freezing to my shoes. The wind, which was predicted, is definitely coming in a little earlier than I thought it would. So I'm glad we have the route we have, and I'm glad I'm going to be turning my back here to the wind in a little bit. Setting things up is taking a little bit longer. Cameras are falling over. Awesome. So I'm just feeling it. I think it's just a lesson to kind of get back to what's fun, what I enjoy doing. You know, I come out on these with a plan of what I want to do. And when that plan gets interrupted with reality, if I don't surrender to it, if I don't go with it, then this turns into a chore, or the thing you're bumping up against turns into a pain in the butt. So I'm going to take that lesson, and I'm going to remember why I love paddling, why I love doing this, drop the plan I had in my mind, and go with what the day presents. Hello, ducks. Got a paddling friend that knows so much about birds. So good that I think he knows the last time they ate and their middle name, what day of the week they were born on. I'm kidding, Tom, but you're really good at identifying birds on the water. I'm not, so you know it was a duck, so y'all got that. I want to take some time here today to look back on some of my goals from last season. I really wanted to improve my rolling. I developed a roll on both sides, but very much had what's called an offside roll. You know, the roll you're not as comfortable with. And when I was in conditions, when I needed my roll, it was always on my mind of what side am I going to set up on, what side am I more confident. So this season, I really tried to focus on rolling on both sides and really eliminating the idea of an offside roll. Getting a lot of wind here, rounding this point. It's going to be a bit of a slog. making the line to Hallowell Point here, but we'll put in a shift. Hallowell Point. I was hoping to get some beautiful drone footage, but that's not gonna happen. You can't feel the wind so much right now because I'm blocked by this island. Well, maybe I can use that to my advantage. Maybe I can use the island. All right, let's try it. Let's try a little bit of low drone. Drone was pretty short-lived. Once I got up towards the treetops, it was not happy. So, no drone footage. It's probably the last of it today, so it's just gonna get windier. I had hoped to get the drone up in the wind shadow of this island, but it didn't work. It just got way too windy too soon. And then as I was getting in the boat, get the cameras on, and then just kind of was fighting with my spray deck to try to get it on, and got all situated and got the paddle in my hand, and then the cameras timed out. They're set for like a 5-minute timer that they'll automatically shut off, and they time out and they turn off, and of course I can't reach them from my cockpit, so then I had to undo everything and get out and turn the cameras back on. But that's okay. Going with the flow. For whatever reason, things today are meant to be a little harder than other days. That's okay. It's still beautiful out here. Man, you are facing the sun. I think that's just gonna happen. I mean, I need to paddle where I need to paddle, and I wanna talk to you along the way. So it's not like I can pull over or paddle in a different direction for extended periods and hope to complete a trip. Tidal currents and reversing falls was another thing I wanted to explore last season, and made it a focused effort in my paddling to really get into those areas. There are areas where, due to the tidal action, a lot of water tries to go into or out of a constriction, and it creates standing waves and currents, similar to what you might see in whitewater. My goal this season was to put myself into those environments and just try to quiet things down. Just try to feel like I could thrive instead of just survive. I could play instead of just try to stay upright. It's a real concerted effort this year. I sought out a lot of classes. It's not an area I go play in alone. So there's not a lot of opportunities. And I made them this summer. While I love goals and thinking about them and creating checklists of things I want to do to meet those goals, I also just try to be realistic and pragmatic in establishing those goals. Tucking into this hillside, the mossy bank is just beautiful. Underbrush in the forest coming down, the lighter green here of some reindeer moss, and the sun's coming through. It's really pretty. At the high water line, at the high tide line, there's a sheet of ice. I'll try to get a little closer. Pretty cool. Well, we made it as far back in Little Kennebec Bay as we could, not without challenges, not without some setbacks and some difficulties along the way. It's really interesting that that comes on a day that I'm talking about goals. You know, the goal of this trip and the things I set out to do just changed drastically to get here. From batteries dying to phones running out of batteries to cameras falling over due to the wind to really muddy launching spots to the wind being too high to get the drone out. But you know, throughout that we persevere. You know, we find other things to do and we find other ways to get to our goals. Yeah, I didn't expect that today, coming out hoping to talk to you about my paddling goals, to have such a real world experience of needing to adapt and needing to overcome. It's a good lesson. Took some time there at our turnaround spot to take the pogies off as I got a little warm and take the beanie off. We'll see how long it all lasts. About to get back into the wind here a little bit and it might cool down, but I was overheating. I didn't bring a baseball hat, so you're all gonna have to suffer with whatever is happening on the top of my head. Kinda wish I had a baseball hat as I'm headed into the sun. So you also get me squinting a lot. As I look ahead to the next year and start thinking about some of the things I want to accomplish in my paddling, what I'm noticing is it's not like one skill I can really put my hand on or set of skills. I feel like last season it was a lot clearer. I want to get better at this. And what I'm noticing is all of those things are still there. The things on my list for the coming season were on my list last season. Rolling, bracing, extended camping, tidal currents, you know, getting comfortable in big things. The image I have is that spiral, right? Like I just keep going higher and higher up, but it's all the same, kind of touches on all the same points. Crossing over just to explore this side of the channel. Came up the other side on my way in. With the wind at my back, I have less to fight with, so I'm gonna check out this side here. And again, just beautiful, dense, deep forest. It's like there's some markers on these trees. I wonder what these markers are. If there's a trail? No, that wouldn't be a trail. Got it, Maine Coast Heritage Trust Preserve. I'll need to look up what preserve this is. I'm not sure what preserve it is. It's really pretty. Good job, Maine Coast Heritage Trust. Really cool seeing the water just drip off the rocks, forming these icicles. Man, I'm really struggling without a hat. I gotta bring a hat. I'm just getting dripped on. Yep, more drips. The wind has definitely died down. It wasn't as gross as it was when we started today, even though it is at my back. which usually means it's harder to notice the effects of the wind. The water doesn't look as bad as it did when I was on my way out. So I'm gonna try to pop around the tip of this point, get a little bit more of that sun warming me, and then I gotta cross this bay here, the wider part, to get back to the launch. So yeah, I'm gonna look for a landing spot here, and you have some tea on a rock, and then make my way back over. Overall, I'm really proud of the paddling I did last year and the growth that I was able to experience from adding some intentionality into some of the things I was doing. Definitely feel like a different paddler now compared to who I was this time last year. And I think I see, as I work with really talented people and meet more talented paddlers, I see like the next evolution. I see how much more there is to grow. Sort of that next horizon, how much skill other people have. It's like we're rounding back into the mouth of Duck Cove here. High tide as we're coming back, so it should look very different than when I came in. Some final reflections here before I get off the water for the day. I came out today with a goal and notes and an idea of the episode I wanted to make and the route I wanted to paddle and what I wanted to show you and what I wanted to talk about. And, from the first 2 minutes getting out of the car, everything just started to tell me that wasn't going to happen, that I needed a different plan today. And I fought it for a little bit, and then I regrouped. I was able to then get to a headspace where, okay, great, we're just going to paddle the paddle we have. And then reaching our goal of that little creek way, way, way back in the bay, it just really struck me. I'm out here on a day talking about my goals as a paddler, and I set a goal and was thwarted in meeting that goal in a lot of ways and needed to reevaluate or shift or take a different approach. We still got there. It just didn't come out the way I thought it was going to come out. And what a lesson. What a great lesson. Just to surrender and relax. Yeah. I need to do more of that. I need to do more surrendering and relaxing and enjoying whatever is unfolding instead of trying to hold on to a vision that, again, for minute 2 wasn't going to happen today. I hope you have the ability to find things in your day that just light you up, that make you feel something deep in your body that's special and unique in you. And honestly, like I hope this channel does a little bit of that for you. I hope you can take a little bit of that with you. I hope you feel some of it. Because it's really in my heart to try to share that with you. Okay, friends, let's get off the water. We're gonna wrap this one up here. I got my warm, cozy clothes on. Boat's all packed up, gear's all packed up. I'm ready to hit the road. You know, it wasn't the day that I planned on having, but I'm grateful for the day that I had. The weather was definitely a challenge. Those winds at times were difficult to paddle against and in, and the drone did not like the wind. So not enough drone footage on this one. And the cold, the cold was definitely something to work with today as well. And then it got hot and I took a lot of clothes off and then I had to put some stuff back on. I'm really grateful for the opportunity to take the time on the water just to reflect on the past year of paddling as well. It was a beautiful way to think back on what I wanted to accomplish this year and what I did accomplish this year and start to look ahead till next year. So I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you enjoyed seeing the things that we were getting into out here. And I'd love for you to tell me all about it. Throw some things in the comments. Let me know what you think. So yeah, the light's fading. I'm gonna get out of here. Until next time, safe paddling. Bye-bye.